Hello, hello, my debt-free divas. Welcome back to the next session where we are actually going to be looking at our recurring bills. Now, all of the forms are in your budget planner, and we're going to work through them one by one so that you have a really clear understanding of where all your money is coming from and where you're going to tell your money to go to every month, because that's what a budget is. A budget isn't something that constrains your spending. It's a budget is something that you create so that you can tell your money where it needs to go, so that if you are in the saving up the emergency fund, the £1,000 emergency fund stage, you can tell all your extra money to go into the emergency fund. Once you've filled your emergency fund, you can decide to tell all your extra money to go towards paying off your debts. When you're debt free, you can tell your budget, your extra money to go all the way into your savings and your investments. A budget is something that puts you in control of your money so that you can make decisions, because well, here's the reality, my lovelies. If you don't make decisions about where your money is going, somebody else is going to do that for you, and that never ends well. So make sure you grab the right sheet. And today we're going to be working on the recurring bills. Now, in my head, there are four places that my money goes each and every month. I've got recurring bills. So those are the bills that I need to pay each and every month to keep the roof over my head and the lights on. Those are the bills that come through. It used to be in the little brown envelopes that you have to pay. And now, of course, they very often come electronically. But those are the monthly bills that you need to budget for, because you need to pay them every single month. My second pot of spending, where I spend my money, is something that's called sinking funds. And that is for the periodic but predictable expenses that come up. And I try as much as possible to budget as much using my sinking fund so that I can save up in advance for things like housing insurance and car insurance, and so that when the time comes to pay the bill, I don't have to do it on the direct debit and pay more. I can just do a transfer, pay it, and it's done. Of course, sometimes you still need to go and do the month by month, but the aim is always to get to the stage where my sinking funds are funded to a high enough degree that I'm able just to write a check and pay most of my bills on an annual basis rather than on a month by month basis. That's just something that really works for us. Then the third place is we have our daily living expenses. And for us, that is things like food, that is entertainment, that is spending money. That's also things like fuel, so petrol for the car, etc. So in my car expenses, my petrol would come out of my daily living, because that's my discretionary spending. I can decide how much I'm going to spend on petrol, because I can decide not to take the car and do things. So I can trim my expenses back so that I can fit my budget. I can trim my food budget back to fit my budget, but I can't trim my mortgage back to fit my budget. So I've got my recurring bills, which is what we're going to focus on today, sinking funds, which we'll focus on later, daily living, that's where we've got the most of the day-to-day decisions, and of course your debt or your savings pot. So at the moment we are back to first principles. I am now looking at what I am committed to paying on a month by month basis. I'm going to write down all the amounts. I'm going to write down the due dates. And this is a working form. This is something I can print out another one and I can redo this. If there's something that I look at a bill and I think I could probably go and get a better deal, for instance, your utility bills or your broadband, then whenever I'm able to trim some money off the money that's due, I can adjust my budget. But it all comes into this pot of recurring bills. So this is it's just one piece of paper. I can print this out as many times as I need to in order to trim all of my recurring bills as far as possible. And of course, once my sinking funds are created and funded fully, I can start pulling some of my recurring bills into my sinking fund allocation so that more and more of the money is saved up in advance. Just helps make my money go a little bit further. So looking at the things that happen on the first of the month, I have life insurance that is due. That needs to be paid each and every month. And I keep that on a monthly because I can make sure that that's keeping being paid. And for me, that is £13. And that gets paid each and every month. The next thing that comes out of my account is my broadband. At the moment, the best deal that we are on with broadband is with Sky, but we've actually got fibre optic cable coming into our town over the next few months, and I will be transferring my broadband provision to the new fibre optic company. And at that point, I'm going to take my broadband I've been paying for and I'm going to move that over into my business account, because it doesn't look like we're going back to work in an office anytime soon. If I'm working from home, I need high quality broadband, and that's going to be a business expense. It gets reimbursed out of the business for me at the moment, but I'm going to make sure that the actual bill comes out of my business on a monthly basis. So there's one less thing that I need to worry about. At the moment, my broadband bill is £30. The next thing that comes out is on the 4th of every month, I have the council tax. Now that is £100 per month. And of course, that's a little bit flexible just now because we have had a council tax increase, but we've also had some money from the Scottish Government off our council tax bill. So we're waiting for the bill to come out. I think it'll be a bit of a wash. I think the increase minus the money that we get from the government will put it down to about £1,200 again per month. And I make sure that there's £100 every month paid on that. The next payment that comes out is on the 14th, and that is our Amazon Prime. And that is £8. We used to have a TV license, which is, I don't know, 150, £160. We used to have Netflix, which of course was another £8 or £9 or something. We now only have Amazon Prime. So we don't have a TV license, we don't watch live TV. We've got Amazon Prime for ordering for Amazon, but also because it gives us access to some TV programs through Amazon Prime, but we don't watch a lot of TV. So I'm not really prepared to be spending much more than that. I think £8 per month, it's quite enough of a commitment for us, for our family. We do a lot of reading, we do a lot of other things online. TV is just not a huge part of our lives. So we are up to the 14th, almost halfway through the month. On the 21st, I have got my son's mobile phone. And that is another £8. And I have my own mobile phone, which is £20. That's on the 21st as well. Again, having chatted to my accountant, I'm going to make sure that instead of that being reimbursed from the business every year, I'm going to make sure that I move that over, and that's going to go and be paid for by the business. Now that the business is making some decent turnover, my mobile and my broadband costs should be sitting within the business rather than within my personal expenditure. That just happens to be because I run my own business. So that'll be good. I'll be able to get rid of £20 plus £30. I'll be able to get rid of £50 from my personal expenditure. It doesn't disappear, sadly. It then becomes £50 more in the business expenditure, but it does mean that my broadband and my mobile costs are covered by my business. So that is on the 21st. I pay my son's mobile, I pay my mobile, and oh yes, 21st, the big one, utilities bill. At the moment, they are quoting me, I'm actually paying £110 per month on a fixed rate. And that will come to an end in April, sadly. And Lord knows what that might go to. But at the moment, it is only £110 per month for gas and electricity. And I am in credit with them. I'm going to leave the little bit of money that is in credit with them at the moment. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the direct debit facility with my utility company, and I'm going to go on to I will read my meters every month. I will submit my numbers to you and I will pay for what I have used in that month, rather than building up in the summer an accumulation that they get the benefit of the money sitting in their account. I'm going to keep the money sitting in my account instead. Also, because I think if I get back into the reading of the utility meters, the gas and the electric meters, every month, and I track that, it's just going to make us much more conscious of what we are actually using, and we can spot that if anything is getting away from us. So that is going to change in the next couple of months. Of course, my mobile is coming out and my broadband is coming out in the next couple of months as well. So this will change, and I'll just print out another one of these sheets and I'll fill it in again, because this is for year 2022, but it's the first version. This is just a working sheet. It should be full of scribbles out and rewritten, and this is a working form, so that I can look at each and every one of these and make a decision about what I can do in order to trim back my expenditure. I'm obviously not going to get rid of my life insurance. I am going to need broadband, but that can go to the business. Council tax, I've got no choice. I must pay that. I could choose not to have Amazon Prime. I could choose not to provide a mobile phone for my son, and I could choose to downgrade my own mobile, but I can also choose to use less fuel as well. So I want to make sure that I'm always keeping an eye on each and every one of these. Now, the other one I've got is, of course, I have got my mortgage. And that comes out at the end of the month. So I'm going to call that the 30th. And that, because I've taken so much money out of my mortgage account, is now going to be sitting at £210 per month, although interest rates are beginning to sneak up. So that may increase. It's something I need to keep an eye on. That gives me a total of about £499 per month for recurring bills. Those are the bills that I must pay each and every month. Otherwise, they come and take things away from me. If you're asking where are things like my home insurance, well, that's sitting in one of my sinking funds. What about my car maintenance? That's in my sinking fund. My car insurance, also, it's got a sinking fund account. But these are just the monthly bills that I must pay. So where are you going to find those? I suggest you go and grab your bank statements. You pull them out, you go and grab a highlighter pen, and you start going through your bank statements, highlighting all of the regular monthly payments and get them down onto one sheet of paper so that you can see exactly what you're spending in each of your categories. And then, of course, you can trim. You can look at each and every one of these expenses, and you can see if there is a way for you to go and trim some or all of that money out of your recurring bills budget. So that is the first pot of money that I am looking to manage. Remember, I've got recurring bills, I have got my sinking funds, I have got my daily living, and I have got my debt repayments or my savings. There's 4 different categories in my budget. just to keep it nice and simple. So there's a nice little project for you. Cup of tea, glass of wine if you're doing it this evening, of course. Go and grab all of your bank statements and look and see if you can identify and find what you are paying at the moment. You need to know where you're starting in order to really begin the trim process and get better deals on everything that you're paying out. You may have a much longer list of recurring bills because you may not have very many fully funded sinking funds created. So you may be paying insurance just when it comes up. You need to know when that happens, but look at the month by month, get yourself the basic framework of everything that you are committed to paying on a monthly basis. For me, this is £499. I'm going to call it £500 in recurring bills. So I know that when I come to put together my first stab at a new working budget, and of course our budget is going to be a PSB, a personal survival budget, because we're committed to filling a new emergency account as quickly as possible. So I'm going to make sure that I start to trim some of these so that I can free up some money to go into my my emergency fund, so that I know if I go and get my broadband moved over and my mobile moved over to the business, that's an extra £50 per month that I can put into my emergency fund. I'm not finding any more money. I'm just telling my money where I need it to go. So that's your job for today. Go and find out where your recurring bills are. How much do you pay and how much are you committed to pay on a monthly basis? Month in, month out, what are the absolute have to pay this, or they come and take the house, the lights go out, you can't turn on the tap for water, and the council get really annoyed if you don't pay the council tax. That is for sure. So what does it cost, the very basic, to keep you in this house and rolling forward on a monthly basis? Next thing, of course, we're going to have a look at sinking funds, our daily living, and our debts and savings. But this is a great place to start. What are you committed to? Let's have a look at those numbers. See you guys soon. Bye.